if you already believe that I am you and you are me, that is not an issue. But if I see the world in this very materialistic sense of the one with the most is the one who wins, what does that ego do when it bumps into people who, just by circumstances, have way more than you?
Why don't we make sense of this confusion? We can live better. I believe that we can live better. But living better doesn't mean we need to, there is intention to destroy Africa. That is not where this can be living better. This intention of refusing that the person you see in front of you is a human being. What does it cost you?
So they defend their actions as preemptive violence on a violence they thought would have come to Europe. And this is in denial of all the realities of nobody wanted to steal anything from Europe because they had nothing anymore to be stolen. Between their potato blights and how they had run down their own ecosystem and they were now overpopulated and dying. No, they left to steal. But no, the idea is people will say this Darwinist thing, it's survival of the fittest, right? They will say there will always be an oppressor and an oppressed, and they justify these things as such. My name is Tawanda Chabikwa, and I'm here in El Paso, Texas, right now. And I'm from Zimbabwe, born and raised, and currently I'm an assistant professor of theater and dance, and I'm also in the African American Studies program. So dance and African diasporic studies are my things.
That is lovely, because that is actually at the centerpiece of what we do here. We are actually concentrated on the African diaspora. And so, of course, we talk about everything, history and our storytelling here, because we believe that our story is important, that we should be the one telling our story, representing ourselves, showing our senses and sensibility. This is what we are in here for. All right, give us the privilege to learn a little bit more about you. So you are from Zimbabwe. Tell me a bit about you growing up in Zimbabwe. That is important for me.
Yeah, so I did grow up in Zimbabwe. What can I say about that? I'm from a regular lower middle class family, and of course, I was lucky enough to get, quite a very good education. Because my family and my parents saw that as a very important thing to have. For them, having lived through the colonial times, their understanding of the importance of education as a way of getting that upward social mobility was very, very clear. So I got that education, and it was very much a Catholic missionary education because my parents are Catholic. And I got to spend time with a lot of different Catholic denominations, learning from them. The Ignatians, the Jesuits, the Dominicans, the Marist brothers, and so forth. So I went to boarding school at about age 11, Marist brothers, in Nyanga, Zimbabwe, which is in the Eastern Highlands, very close to Mozambique. And that's where I did my high school. And it was a very typical kind of, British post-colonial style education where we'd had the O levels and then the A levels after that. And at the time, I was very interested in the sciences. I was good at, the humanities and things of that sort, but I was very fascinated by the sciences because they kind of taught how the world worked. So I was very taken by, mathematics and physics, biology, chemistry, and things of that sort. So when I finished my O levels, and I did quite well in them, I decided to take on maths, physics, and biology. for my A levels, which I hoped would have led me to taking medical instrumentation. However, I got a scholarship to go to school in Hong Kong after that. But also growing up in Zimbabwe was interesting because we would spend a decent amount of time in the city during the school term, and then a decent amount of time in the country or in the rural areas with the extended family and my grandparents growing up as well. So there was an interesting balance, at least in my memory, of going to school and wearing those ties and blazers and uniforms, polished shoes and everything. And then also in the country, just herding cows and goats, and then spending days in the mountains, with my cousins and brothers, and, just being kids as well. So that was very fascinating. But also on my mother's side, our grandfather was at one point the principal of a school. So unlike most other men in the village at his time, he did the strange thing of sending his daughters to school as well, which was fascinating for other people at the time, but turned out to be a wonderful thing. So that idea of an education being important has kind of continued in my family for quite a while.
And that is really lovely. And like you said, that time it might have been seen as unusual, but it turned out to be very good today.
Very much so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how was your early time in the United States? Because, okay, you went to school in Hong Kong, but now you are in the US as an assistant professor. Tell me a bit about your sojourn in the US before you came to where you are today.
So it was fascinating. I got this scholarship to go to the United World College in Hong Kong. And United World Colleges are very interesting because their founder was a person who, after World War II, thought the only way to not have this happen again is to get people while they're very young and have them be in school together. So these colleges are all over the world. There's, some in the US, one in the US, there's Hong Kong, there's Canada, India, etc., etc. There's even one in South Africa, or Lesotho rather, I believe. Or maybe it's in Swaziland, now I forget. But they're wonderful because they're very small schools, 400 or so students, but coming from 72 countries. And your age is 16 to 19, more or less, while you're there. And the whole idea is this social and political awareness. So it was a fantastic situation because I got to see students from, Serbia and Bosnia become best friends, students even from Israel and Palestine working together. We got to see students from Holland wondering why the South African students knew some Dutch, because they were taught different histories. But as kids, we were able to work all this stuff out and really dig into it. At that age where your mind is still pliable, your mind is still changeable, and you're willing to learn and understand new things. So it was a very beautiful experience. And after that, I got the scholarship to go to another small college, College of the Atlantic in Maine, USA. So that's very much in the northeast, right below Canada. And it was another small college, about 400 students, with a very fascinating philosophy called human ecology, which you can summarize as the philosophy of the interconnectedness of all human enterprise. So that means no matter what you were studying, you would have to engage with it in terms of how it's part of a human ecosystem, how it's connected to this and that, how A affects B, affects C. So you grow up with that very holistic understanding of how things work, and very much move towards cultivating a humane approach to the world and a sustainable approach to the world, not just in terms of environmental sustainability, but also in terms of cultural and psychological sustainability, which was fantastic. So after that, I went back to Zimbabwe for a bit, and I got another scholarship to go do my master's in Dallas, Texas. So I did my MFA there in dance. And that was fascinating as a shift. I would say that was my first experience with culture shock, despite having been to quite a number of countries up till then. But in that context, I learned a lot sort of about how the world perceives me, in terms of how America perceives me, and in terms of how or what the world expects of me. And by the world in this sense, I mean more America as a culture in general. I got deeper into understanding sort of what